fusion pistol, I think, picked her. And then I was like, oh, well, okay. So you gave up the center objective 2 turns in a row, and you had it both times. And then at that point, I was like, if I don't actually table him, I might lose. Um, and sure enough, that's what happened. I lost 68 to 67 fucking last turn. But I was okay. Like, it was a good game. The opponent was really good. He was a really good player. I knew that like after the first 2 turns, I knew he knew what he was doing. And he's like probably one of the top players in the area, I would say, from what I've heard from other players. Really nice guy. It was a good game all the way through, and it was just funny because I wasn't keeping score at all. I don't ever do that. If my opponent wants to keep score, I just let them. I don't care.
Right.
And yeah, he's like, oh yeah, so that's game. And he's like, yeah, I think yeah, the game is 68-67 because he ended up scoring um, one bomb in my zone at the final turn with the unit of deep strike um, the fly girls. I can't remember what any of the sister stuff is right now. Anyway,
Jump pack
whatever.
sisters.
Jump pack chicks. Yeah, yeah. And I had the ability to move my one unit of bikes over there to kill them, but I was in such a hurry to like get the game over with because we were almost dice down. Um, it was a pretty complex game, lots of dice rolling, lots of saves because everything's got feel no pain, and so yeah, good game. Lost, but that was again, I was okay with it. Um, and then my second game I played against Nids, the new Nids, and he had a Maliceptor, 12 Zone Thropes, a Neurothrope, 3 Carnifexes, Old One Eye, Swarm Lord, some Gaunts, and 2 units of Warriors. And uh, I don't know if you know what the new Zone Thropes do,
Yeah,
but
you can stack them up, right, for a bunch of mortal wounds and stuff like that.
yeah, so what they do is they cast Smite, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they say they get +1 to their cast for each model in the unit, okay? So they're super smiting on a 5, okay? They had 6 units, super smiting on a 5, okay? So not only that, they do an additional mortal wound on top of the smite for each model in the fucking unit. So it's like a crazy amount of damage. Um, but I think he was maybe not as uh, strong of a player. He definitely knew his rules, but I don't think he really understood what my list could do. And we were playing. It was Hammer and Anvil.
Mm,
So I played super cagey the first turn,
right.
and kind of trying to kill the Carnifex a turn, like because I knew he was going to come to rush at me no matter what. And then I was able to kind of skirt around the right flank, into a unit of zone tropes with my bikes. And then I deep struck a 10-man unit of troop very close to the bikes because I knew what he was going to do is he brought his Maliceptor in to kill the bikes, charge the bikes, while I heroically intervened with the unit of troop and fucking did like 12 mortal wounds to it in just a charge and close combat phase with mortals, using the kiss and the embrace stratagem. And then like I picked up basically the 6 zone tropes and the Maliceptor in 1 turn. And at this point, this guy is fucking rage quitting. He's throwing
Oh
dice. He's
no.
fucking snapping. And I'm loving it, right? I'm like, I haven't tasted these fucking tears for a long time. I'm loving it. And I'm laughing. And then icing on the cake, he played one more turn and he brought Swarm Lord into my line. He turned into a 5-man unit of troop. Murdered it, obviously. And then the other 5-man moved up onto the objective, shot 2 fusion pistols at it, and picked him up. So he was like, yeah, it was game. It was. So I sat that we probably played 30 minutes. So I had to do a lot of sitting after that one. But I got to like see a new store. It's called the Ogre's Den. It's in Calgary. It's a big store. It's very similar to the Gamers Haven in size, or the
Oh,
old Gamers Haven in
yeah.
size. They could have 60-man GTs like no problem there.
Wow.
Um, really nice. I bought a fuckload of Magic cards. Spent about $1,000 on Magic
Nerd.
over my trip.
Nerd.
Yeah. Oh yeah, super nerd. And then yeah. So then game 3, I played against Blood Angels, and I looked at the list, and he had 3 units of Sanguinary Guard,
Mm-hmm.
2 units of Death Company,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, oh, this might actually be a good game. And it turned out that it really wasn't.
Uh-oh.
Uh, Again, I played this game. The guy was like really well. Like, he took it well, but my army just kind of left him standing with his dick in his hand, and just eating tons of shit. So we were playing Dawn of War or Hammer and Anvil again, sorry, and there was huge buildings on basically the deployment zone right on the edge. So you could hide your entire army. So we both did that. I had to go first, so I moved my bikes all the way out to get engaged on all fronts, and then try and pick up a. I think I picked up a unit of like Primaris Marines that were sitting on an objective with just the unit of bikes and Void Weavers. So then naturally he comes out and brings a unit of Death Company out to try and kill a unit of bikes, and I just put the unit of bikes just on his side off of the center objective. So I don't think he knew what was going to happen. So he brought the Death Company up, and then it was his turn to charge. So he goes to charge, and they were like 2 inches away from me from the bikes. Well, I used my fallback strat. You get to move 6 inches when you're declared charge against you. So I moved the bike 6 inches back onto the objective, and he rolled a 5-inch charge, and then he gets a free reroll, and he rolled it into another 5. So fucking, he was just like, well, I think that's game, and I'm like, yeah, it's probably game. So I picked up the Death Company like that turn, and then basically he had to make a decision. All right, do I go all out or do I do the exact same thing again? And he made the right call of I'm gonna go all out. So he ended up killing like a unit of bikes and stuff. But once my troop got in, they basically just like wiped everything. Um, the game was a little bit more back and forth than that, but that was basically the short version. Um, and so one unit of troop went into a unit of Sanguinary Guard, Dante, and his Primaris Chaplain on a bike, and they picked up Dante and the Sanguinary Guard like nothing. And then he's like, "Holy shit!" He's like, "You only have one of those units, right?" And I'm like, "No, there's 2 more behind this building. There's 2 dead men. Are you fucking serious?" And I go, "Yeah, sorry, dude." It's like, uh, yeah. So honestly, it was fun. It was a good learning experience for me. But what I did learn about Blood Angels is if he would have had 10-man units instead of 5, it would have been really hard for me to chew through that many wounds at the 2+ save. And what because he once he hit me back, he was picking up what he was hitting.
Right.
But if he doesn't get the chance to do it, then he dies. So if he had 10-man units, I can't kill 10-man units.
10
So
man sanguinary guard units, or just
yeah,
okay.
Sanguinary Guard
Right.
units, or even like Vanguard units. Like I can't chew through that many wounds at that kind of save. So basically, what would have happened is I attack, kill a few or kill half, and then he wipes my unit. Um, so I kind of was like, yeah, if you like go this way versus how you're doing it now, like you probably have like that armor of contempt definitely made a huge difference in some of the factions, I'd say. But like there was no like the best army that or the best power armor showing was that Sisters of Battle player that I played.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, so that was definitely a question I had. So you face now. You haven't played against Thousand Suns yet, correct?
no, but I own Thousand Suns, and
Right.
I know that the army is better, but it's not as it didn't get as quite the buff that a lot of the other armies got. But yeah, Thousand Suns are good. They did really well
So
at the tournament as well. Most of the T Suns armies went 2-1.
oh, that's good.
Um, but I ended up there was a T Suns player that smashed Harlequin Dark player, or not smashed, but he definitely won the game with his Terminators. Like he killed the Void Weavers first 2 turns, and then I think the player realized that he didn't have the tools to deal with the Terminators anymore, and then it was just Terminators picking up everything for the rest of the game. Um, but yeah, I met a really good bunch of good guys there. Made some new contacts, and it was really good. I ended up getting fourth
Oh,
at the tournament.
that's okay.
Still,
Two
yeah,
and
it
one,
was good.
2-1, getting fourth. Hey, Price, what's up? Thanks for joining the chat. Sorry, the stream didn't start live on time. Must have misclicked the button, but here you go. So then between the Sisters of Battle and the Blood Angels, you said you think the Sisters of Battle got the biggest bump from Armor of Contempt?
I think that they got a good one. I think Blood Angels probably have the best bump just because they already have stuff that's 2-up saves.
Right.
So I think that for them, if they build their list correctly, and like saying that, like we saw that already at a big tournament a week ago as well, where Blood Angels played Nick Donavati in the final at the Dallas GT. And like a very similar list to what I was playing against. It just they had a little bit bulkier units. So with the right terrain and stuff like that, they definitely have play, for sure.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, so I watched another Auspex tactics video. I don't even know. We should probably go back to potato chat because I don't even know why anybody bothers putting out podcasts. Is that guy is on it with a video 5 minutes after news is released.
yeah, man, he's on it for sure.
And he's always talking and raising his voice at the end of everything he says. But he released a video today. I think it was today on Terminators. I mean, it was just Terminators are back. Terminators are good, and we already knew that Death Shroud Terminators were already pretty good. Obviously, Thousand Suns Terminators were good.
Yeah, Scaraboccults are like they're so strong.
Deathwing.
They're expensive though. They're expensive.
Deathwing Terminators good, but really anything you're probably going to see dropping of Storm Shields and Thunder Hammers to more either dual Lightning Claw or Power Fist, Chain Fist, and Bolters, because that 2-up save isn't as valuable, right? Or that invuln save isn't as valuable with Armor of Contempt.
Here's what's interesting about the Marine meta now, though, right? Is that, as you can see, the NID's mortal wound spamming that they're doing, it picks up those armies pretty quick. So, like, that Maliceptor, I watched it do 30 mortal wounds to a Eldar player on turn 1. On game number 1 of that tournament, playing beside me. It was actually the guy that I played against, his NIDs, but yeah, it did 30 mortal wounds turn 1.
That's brutal.
That's a lot, man. Like that's a lot of damage. So
yeah, I feel like we need to have another full show dedicated to NIDs when we get Cody online too. Now that he's wrapped his head around the book a little bit more and everything else.
Yeah, and I can tell you that Cody just made an investment in some, basically flushing out the rest of his collection. I don't know if he just got antsy and he just went on and spent a ton of money and bought all of the stuff he doesn't have. So he will now have the full line of everything that he needs, I guess. So,
well, that's good. I mean, he was surprised he was missing stuff that he would have needed anyway, right? He's got such a good collection of bugs.
Yeah, no, like that's the thing though, is like all the stuff he didn't have was stuff that nobody ever played. So they've never been good before. But yeah.
So let's talk for a minute about that Nanavati list, because I found it kind of interesting. I don't, if I were a better podcast host, I'd have it pulled up in front of me. But essentially, it was just Shirk and Death with a custom far-flung craft world.
Yeah, I didn't really understand his list. Like, obviously, I understood like what the things do, but again, that list was like, I don't know. I wouldn't have picked that list to win. I didn't think it was that like impressive of a list, but that he basically wasn't going for 100-point wins though either, right? That list was because they were going to have enough games to play to determine a winner,
right?
So, and I think that's what my list does really good too, Helm, is that I don't get max points, but I have enough points to win the game. But in a lot of tournaments, that leaves you like you lose because there's still like 3 people undefeated, right?
Right, you're on the outside looking in. I mean, I think that's naturally the way that Eldar play. It's so difficult to max out points, and it's difficult in general for armies to max out points now, I think. But when you're playing edges or however you need to dance around as an Eldar player, it's hard. I mean, and you take secondaries like engage on all fronts, but you might have a turn where you miss that, right? And it's very easy to do. So you're already not looking at max points there, and then you just have to hope you hit hard. But his list anyway was just a bunch of shurikens and then ignoring dense cover, so that that -1 to hit. Was it the -1 to hit, or is it the +1 to save? I forget. One of those, and with the shuriken buffs, and lots of bikes, which I found interesting. So I actually have a bunch of shuriken catapult wind riders built. I wasn't going to paint for the tournament coming up. I still don't think I'll have time. But they're interesting, man. I mean, they're interesting the way they move around. They're interesting the way they can deal some damage without buffs. But when I'm worried about running into Armor of Contempt stuff, because it's really just going to neuter shuriken, I feel like.
Yeah, but like the thing that Eldar does have as well is volume of fire too, right?
Right.
Is you can put out a ton of shots, and like you're always gonna roll ones and twos. You know what I mean? Like there's always gonna be, and you're still picking up a model every time that happens. So I don't know. I still think that the speed and durability that all Eldar have is gonna outweigh that Armor of Contempt almost every time. Um, but I think that you're gonna start seeing like uh more variety of lists coming out soon, because like the meta is shifting like almost weekly now, because all these books that are getting updated and dropped, they're so broken. Um, it's gonna be funny to see Knights entering the picture. I like from what I've heard, the Night book's not that good. Chaos Knight book's not that good. But Knights in general still pose a huge problem for like armies like mine.
Oh yeah.
So,
I mean,
you
it's
know,
what I'm worried about. So Price and I were talking. We've sort of been workshopping you our elder list back and forth for this tournament coming up on the 5th. And I really like D Cannon support batteries. He does not, because of the change to barrage. I don't see it as a barrage weapon. If I can't see you, I'm probably not going to shoot it. I see it as an anti-knight weapon specifically.
oh, for sure,
They're
like
anti-monsters, because we're going to run into, the demon princes of Slaanesh, or the big scary,
keeper secrets.
yeah, keeper of secrets from Slaanesh. We're going to run into a bunch of those. We're going to
See,
run
and that's
into,
the thing that's the funny thing is wait till that Chaos book drops. I have a feeling it is going to be just disgusting,
yeah. I,
or maybe not.
I mean, I'll wait with bated breath. I have stockpiled a few chaos bits now, just in case.
Well, if you
That book
just look
grabs
at
me.
the sheer volume of attacks that everything in the game has been getting, and like Chaos, innately should always like had more attacks, right? They're less durable but have more attacks. Um, it should be interesting to see what that book looks like. I'm sure they're gonna have some stupid strats. I just think that it's funny that they finally got two wounds when two wounds are no longer valuable. You know,
Yeah.
they finally got the two wounds.
The Price is saying, yeah, back to that Nanavati list. It ignores the +1 to save for cover. Thanks, Price, for that. So it takes away
Oh, it's
that
not.
that
Yeah,
that
that at
stacking,
least gets you away from the two up saves to
right,
shit and cover. Yeah,
right,
yeah, that
especially with
makes
Armor
sense.
of Contempt. So, um, but yeah, the Knights, and I watched the Chaos Knight tabletop tactic battle report this morning. Um, and I mean the Knights were good. They were good. I mean they're definitely more flavorful. I still don't think knight armies in the game are necessarily great for the game, and because they don't have the weapons in my mind to be a top tier faction. Um, they are that kingmaker, that gatekeeper list, and then you find a lot of them on the middle of tables as well, because people just want to show up, sort of have some games with a small
Yeah,
model
like
count.
George. George has got a knight army.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so I the, it looked good. It's hard to tell from their battle reports necessarily, if they're playing fluffy or they're going hard. I know they do their league games for their hard games. Um, but it looked interesting. It looked like it would be, kind of more entertaining than playing Knights in the past, where I don't know how good they'll be.
But that's the thing, right? Is like you look at a Castellan now and like what it can do. Yeah, all of its guns are super potent, right? They kill shit. like everything fucking kills shit now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, what do you? Okay, you pick up a rhino. You do pick up a couple crisis suits, like whatever. Like it's not like you give up so much mobility and uh board control with a 600 point knight than you would for like 2 units of Harlequin bikes, for instance. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
like,
that's what
I
it
think
is.
you're gonna see the better lists are definitely gonna have a lot more of the little baby knights now because
Mm-hmm.
they're like relatively priced. Like they're 100. What do you say? They're 145 points to 160 points for like their costs, and like you put 10 of those on the board, and they all have like, especially with like the flamers or like the exploding sixes, like all that shit. Like they're pretty good. So and they're OBSEC, I'm sure now too. So should be interesting.
Yeah, and I think just again the flavor of the army as well as seems to be in line with what GW has been doing, at least with in my opinion, with the Eldar Codex, where it feels very flavorful, like that
Yeah,
army should feel. And
and that's cool.
if they
That's
can,
cool. I like that.
I do too. And if they can introduce variety, like you said, while doing that, I think that's better. Because I mean, that's part of the reason why Knights for so long. It's okay. You show up to a Knight player's game. You've played this game 1,000 times before against Knights. You know their list. You know what they're gonna do. Uh, there's really no difference game to game in what a Knight army does. And hopefully this fixes it. At least that part, if it does indeed,
And I think that
introduce some
one thing they
variety.
could have done with the night book is maybe gave them like a couple units of crew, like some acolytes or like some servos or whatever they want to have, just to be able to sit on an objective that doesn't eat up a ton of points. You know what I mean? Like, so you can take 3 of these units that are 60 points for your army, and they can, if they're within 6 inches of a fucking knight, they can heal a D3 wounds or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, and then at least hold an objective so you can actually move out and do stuff with your knights versus just sitting there and getting shot to death or
Yeah,
whatever.
I
So,
actually like that. I think that makes a lot of sense because they obviously would have big support cadres. I mean, hell,
well, for sure. Like, yeah, no, for sure.
right?
So,
You've got warp smiths and tech marines and whatever for and even engine seers for the other imperial factions. I don't know if the sisters have one. I don't think they do, but um,
they just have gimps. Yeah,
oh shit.
but
Well,
yeah, no. So, like, when's your guys' GT there? It's in June, right?
yeah, it's
Beginning of
June
June.
5th. I don't know if anybody saw it. Everybody saw it. You can go over our Facebook page. I posted a picture of those trophies that Horner had printed up. They look like guitars, which is
Yeah.
fitting for Memphis. I want one of those real fucking bad. Uh, I'm not sure how I'm gonna get it, because I don't even think the list that I had been playing I don't think is great. Um, and I don't think with everything that's going on that I'll actually end up with time to paint that list fully to where I need to be. So I might have to think about what I'm gonna take. But what I'd been workshopping, it was uh, uh, an Eldrad list. So it had Eldrad, Farseer on the bike, an Autark with a dragon fusion gun, a warlock on foot, and a warlock on bike. Max 5-man unit of spears because I like that new kit, and I think they are even though they're expensive, there still is some utility to them. Eight
Oh
man
yeah.
shuriken cannon bikes, 10-man. Um, uh, what are the swooping hawks? 2 units of rangers, a unit of 10 dire avengers. Because dire avengers are fucking great now. I love them. And then a wave serpent for them to ride around in. And then a unit of warwalkers with a missile launcher and bright lance on each. So 3 of those. And then
You have 3 of those. You have 3 Warwalkers.
I mean, I've been tinkering with it.
Oh
And
yeah. Okay.
and then the D cannon support batteries. So no,
I
I do.
was, I was just curious because like do you like the Warwalkers over Fire Prism
So this is
or Fire Prism?
yeah, this is what I'm struggling with, right? So I really like the fire prisms. Um, I think being able to turn off invulns, uh, if you need to, if you run into that night list or whatever else, is super strong. I don't see a place where you would run those and the support batteries. I think there is some utility again in the war walkers. I like having that mobile vehicle because they can grab a table corner, even if it's just one of them, because they have that vehicle keyword, which is
How
kind of.
far do they move?
Oh, I don't even know what my book is. 7 inches, 8
Price?
inches.
Okay.
I'll tell you here in a second. But there's some value. That the missile. I can't tell you the last time that I shot a missile launcher before my last couple of games, but they're pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
I mean, just for what they are, and it's a blast weapon. Of course, Marines wouldn't care, but if you're dealing with cultists or whatever like that, um, they do all right. Warwalkers move 10 inches, so 10-inch base movement.
That's not bad. That's actually you can actually get there, and that's like I think that it's important to have like that second utility with your shooty things in this game. You
Yeah.
need to be able to get value instead of just sitting there shooting,
Mm-hmm.
not doing anything because it's so easy to hide now. I'm in not engaged stuff. Um, no, I think that 10 inches is a good move. So,
Yeah,
uh,
and it also has the advanced positions, so it can be set up anywhere on the bench that's away from deployment zone or enemy model as well when you
oh
deploy it.
shit, that's good.
Yeah, and a 5-up invulnerable save, which is pretty nice. So then you put the Bright Lance and the missile launcher on it, and it's a decent little gun platform moving around. It has
Yeah,
a vehicle keyword, so it can still shoot those things without penalty when it's moving that 10 inches. It doesn't have battle focus, obviously. It doesn't really have any other valuable keywords that we see in like the support weapons, which are do have the guardian keyword. So one of the reasons I like the support weapons is if you run 3 of them, they're fairly tough, right? They're slow, and with the D cannons, they're 24. It's only 24-inch range, but you sit them on an objective, or whenever you put discipline of Black Guardians on them, if you're running all the way like I am, and all of a sudden,
hmm
you're hitting on 2s. And if you're around, if the thing you're shooting at is within 12 inches of a ranger's unit, there's like a 1 or 2 point CP that lets you re-roll hits.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh shit. Okay, that's cool too.
yeah. Shard, I don't know, shard something. So I haven't used it yet. I haven't had to. Um, I really like the Warwalker as a model. I think, which is one of the reasons that I do want to take it. Um,
Yeah, I like them too.
it's I mean, it's just cool. It's a cool old school model. They're a pain in the dick to build, um, but because you have to hold it in like 5 different places to glue the legs on at the same time, to get it
Buddy,
on its
I used
face.
to have the metal ones, and they were the
Oh fuck!
worst fucking thing ever to build.
Oh, I'm sure.
That and the old Wraithlord.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, they're terrible. And we only had like epoxy glue back then to hold shit together, so you had to
Right.
hold it for like fucking 10 minutes. So,
Right.
yeah,
So,
but
but yeah, the bad thing about them, much like the support weapons, is that they can get surrounded really easily. Sort of locked
yeah,
down in place, and then you can shoot your Bright Lance and your, not the blast missile, but just the Star Shot missile into whatever's
into
surrounding
them.
you, but they get hemmed up pretty good. Whereas the fire prisms obviously have fly, so they're fine to just back out of combat.
And they like probably shouldn't be in combat anyway because they shoot like what 60 inches.
They shoot really fucking
Yeah,
far, and
yeah,
they have that same sort of utility as well, where you can do the weaker, sort of more attack shot, or just the double tap regular shot, high strength focused. I think they call it focused shot. So I took it in my first game back against Gene Stealer cults, and I didn't end up using the stratagem at all. The linked fire strat. They just took care of those vehicles, their rock trucks, on their own with each shot. And then I kept one near Eldrad, so whenever more of his little gribbly Gene Stealer guys would pop up, I'd do forewarned and just shoot him shoot him whatever popped up with the fire prism too. So I don't know if I'd take 1, 2, or 3. I think you probably need to take at least 2, so you have the opportunity to take that use that stratagem if you want to. I don't know if 3 is necessary.
Yeah, no, for sure. Again, it's there's one thing that like Nanavati's list showed that is like every fucking unit has a purpose. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like everything it's designed for like scalpel. Like everything's got super has a job to do every game. And I don't necessarily know what job each unit does, but like it's clear that the way he built his list, everything is supporting one thing in one way or the other.
Right.
So, but
Right. You know,
yeah, so you got that tournament. The the brawl is coming up
mm-hmm.
in Grand Forks. The boardroom brawl. They're doing that again on August long. I don't think anybody else is going to go to that this year. And it's a 3-man team tournament event this year. Seems to be a theme this season. So it's going to be a 2-day event, 3-man teams. So I'm probably gonna have to get picked up by another team to play, or I won't play.
Mm.
That's the only other event I have booked this year because I just found out I can no longer go to the Storm. Um, my boss told me that I guess the guy got burned at work and he's going to be off on sick leave for a while, and he was the one that was covering my shifts to go to Storm. So
Mm. Well,
yeah,
hopefully
just
he's okay, or not. I don't know how you feel about the guy. So,
well, I don't feel very good about him now. Walking
uh,
off.
workplace injuries always funny. Um, well, that sucks. But I
Yeah.
know you're only going to be able to go in for a day or so. Are you looking to offload your ticket, or have you already promised it to somebody?
No, I have not done any such thing. I haven't told Bob yet, so
No.
I'm sure he'll be happy.
No.
Yeah. So looks like Sherman's gonna win that event now,
Sparkle Nids.
unfortunately. Yeah,
Sparkle
Sparkle
Nids.
Nids for the win.
Oops, I'm sorry. That was we got a Shermanator alarm. We set that up in our first episode back. The Shermanator alarm that comes in anytime he's mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's so. I signed up for a slow grow league. That just goes up to 1,000 points here. I think it started this week. I might be a game behind. Who the fuck knows? But there's like bonuses for buying shit and building a paint. There's no paint requirements until the end, so I think I'm just gonna throw it.
That's sounds like a GW supported event. Bonus points for buying shit.
Well, yeah, I mean it's store run, right? So
Yeah.
I don't think it's bonus points for buying shit. I think it's bonus points for new armies. So you just
Yeah.
well, it's actually more. So they're doing a raffle, so it's like raffle tickets that you get for meeting certain things. So it seems neat. I've got all this unpainted Eldar and all this unbuilt Eldar that I bought past month. So I'll make something out of that. It's taken me forever. It's taken me damn near 3 weeks to paint my Shining Spears. I don't know why. Um,
You get
Path.
bonus points for every time you see Bodine drink a Diet Coke. Every time he takes a sip of Diet Coke, you should get a point.
Oh shit! It'd be like a Yeti hunt. Take a picture of Bodine drinking a Diet Coke. Maybe drinking something other than Diet Coke.
Yeah, there you go.
I was
That's
supposed to
funny.
play him last Thursday, but then he had to go up to Canada for some reason. I'm sure job related. And then was going to play him yesterday, but obviously we ran into some issues we had to deal with at home, so I wasn't able to do that. I was excited to play his sisters because I wanted to see what they were like with Armor of Contempt.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, they're definitely more durable, that's for sure.
he's got a pretty nasty list as well. So we'll see. I'm gonna try and get a game in against him hopefully next weekend or so. But
Sounds
yeah,
good.
it should be fun. Again, the hobby time isn't. I haven't had as much time to hobby as I would have liked, and I'm not really sure what I'm going to end up taking to the tournament because of that, because I do want to show up fully painted, obviously. But the spears are going to look good. I'll tell you what, I actually kickstarted Squigmar's paintbrushes. It wasn't on Kickstarter, it was on something else. Klinsky Sable brushes, and
Oh, yeah.
I got them sometime last year and never unpacked them. I started using them; they're pretty decent. So the little amount of hobby time that I have had, I have enjoyed. And I'll post some pictures up there on our Facebook page soon, I'm sure. And George says he's going to maintain the Instagram